Hello, and welcome back to Diecast Graveyard. My name is Paul. Thanks for joining me today. We've got a fun build planned today. Here we've got a Hot Wheels Continental Mark III. Now this Hot Wheels came off the second issue of Hot Wheels in 1969. Now when it first came out, nobody really wanted them because it's a luxury car and kids wanted hot rods. But over the years, you get to like them because, well, they become more rare and they actually do look pretty cool. Now, obviously, this one is kid painted, and it looks like he wanted to turn it into a hot rod or a race car. Well, we're going to restore it back to original condition. Well, we're going to change the paint on it anyway. I like opening kid cars because you never know what you're going to get underneath. It's kind of like opening or finding an Easter egg. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So let's go ahead and get started with today's restoration of this Hot Wheels Continental Mark III. Grab your favorite adult beverage and join in with today's restoration. I've already drilled out the posts on the bottom. I still have to drill them out completely to put the screws in. But let's go ahead and get the car apart and do the autopsy. The body's in fairly rough shape because of the way, like I said, you can see that it was kid painted. So we're going to have to strip all the paint off that. I'll have to drill out the posts the rest of the way. Here's the base, and this looks pretty rough. Now the axles in this car are pinched in, and I'll address those a little bit later in the video. Got a lot of paint to remove. The axles are all bent up, so we'll have to fix those. Here's the interior and the glass. Now the glass is in really rough shape. I'm going to do what I can with it, but I did order some new glass for it. But we'll get it fixed up as best as we can to put it in the car until we get the new stuff. And here's the interior. We got a little bit of paint to remove on the interior, but this is really dirty. We'll clean that up with soap and water. Let's move on. Okay, here we've got the body. We're going to put it in the embalming fluid, or AKA citrus strip. For my European friends, AKA stands for also known as, in case you didn't know. Knock off as much of the citrus strip as you possibly can, because it's just a waste, really. And then let it set for as long as need be. Now, some paint jobs take a little bit longer than others. Some come off almost immediately. Some may take a day to sit. It just depends on the paint and the clear coat that was used. Let's move on.
Someone is being exhumed.
Here's the base. Let's remove as much of this paint as possible and hopefully a lot of the tarnish too. I'm using these abrasive wheels that look like Scotch-Brite pads, and you can get these off my Amazon Marketplace page, which is in the description. Let's go ahead and speed up and watch the magic of the wheel as it works. Take a drink of your adult beverage, or if you don't drink adult beverage, your coffee, your soda, your water, whatever it is you drink. We got rid of as much paint and tarnish as possible. And then what we're going to do with the base is we're going to polish it up with flitz. But that looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and get out our great tube of flitz. I've been using this product for a couple of years. Now I have used some other products, and some of those other products are just as good. But I've come to really depend on flitz, and it's a great product, and I absolutely love using it. Here I've got my polishing wheel and the flitz, and we're going to polish it up as much as we possibly can. That stuff is like magic. Now if you get an area that needs to be done some more, Put a little bit more on there and polish it up and just keep going until you're satisfied with what you need. Now that looks a heck of a lot better than it did before. Let's move on. Okay, here's the base. We're going to go ahead and get these wheels off there. Now the wheels are incredibly sloppy, but there's not too much we can do about them. First thing we're going to do though is we're going to try and straighten the wheels so they're not bent. Using this little tool that you can get at Second Chance Redlines or the Redline shop, go ahead and straighten out your axle as best you can. Just be careful, like I said, because the axles on this are crimped in place, and if you happen to break them, there's no replacing them. Again, this is one of those things that you got to be careful of. I guess they did it as a cost-saving mode when they changed the way that they design the axles. But they are crimped in place. Now, sometimes if they're loose, you can super glue them back in place or maybe some epoxy. Just be careful how much you apply. I think the axles are fairly straight, and if you can't get the working the axle tool in there, then just try and bend them as gingerly as you can. Put your thumb on either side of the wheel and push with equal pressure, and you should be able to get the wheel right off. If it gives you a hard time, then you might want to cut the wheel off. Now, one of the questions I get all the time, Uncle Paulie, why are my bearings two different colors? Well, when Hot Wheels put out the contracts to have these made, they sourced out several contractors. They used whatever color they had in stock for the plastic. And there's today's tip from your Uncle Paulie. Like I said, just use equal pressure to get the wheels off. If they give you a hard time or it feels like the bearing's going to pop off, then stop and cut the wheel off. Now we're going to do a wheel swap. Here we've got 4 medium meats that we're going to put on this car. 2 in the back, 2 in the front. Push them on very gently, and then you're going to use that wheel tool or that axle tool to help support it while you push these back on all the way with your thumb. Put your tool behind there, behind the bearing and the base, and then push it on with your thumb. Now again, sometimes you can't get that tool back there, so you're going to have to push it and be careful so you don't bend the axle or break it. They all spin really nice and they look great with those new wheels on there. Fantastic. Let's go ahead and move on. Okay, here's the part with the glass. Now, I'm going to cut this a little bit short on the glass. You do the best you can. You smooth out all the scratches on there and everything, but this glass is in really super rough shape. So I'm going to order some new glass from Second Chance Redlines. Vince has approximately 140 plus different kinds of glass for your restoration needs. So check out Second Chance Redlines. Let's speed this up. Well, like I said, this windshield's in pretty poor shape. There's chunks missing out of the plastic and everything, so we'll dip it in the Pledge Revive here to make it look a little bit more shiny until we can get that replacement windshield in place. Here I've got my dust cover, just an upside down little Tupperware bin or Rubbermaid or whatever it is you got. Sometimes I'll just use like old sour cream containers. Cleaned out, of course. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click on that little bell to be alerted to any future videos that come out. If you're already here watching the video, I put out a lot of different videos like that, and if you want to be alerted to when they come on, then please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It definitely helps me out too. Once you get it dipped out, go ahead and use the corner of the paper towel and wick away the excess Pledge Revive or the gauzy or whatever it is you're using. Set it down gently and then go ahead and cover it up so the dust doesn't get on it while it dries. Make sure you seal everything back up because inevitably you will have an accident and you'll spill stuff all over your desk. Does that sound like the voice of experience? This is why it's really cool, because I get to pass these on to you. Now this interior is in pretty rough shape. So we're going to go ahead and get it to the sink and scrub it down with some soap and water. Now be careful, we got a little bit of paint removed, but the front of the dash is broken in the very front. So I don't want to scrub it down too hard because I don't want it to break. Here's the body after we got it out of the citrus strip. Now we're going to use this abrasive wheel to take off a lot of the excess toning off of the car. Now, once we're done with that, we're going to polish it up with some flits. Now, while you're looking at it, down below, you'll get 20% off of flits if you use the code that is in the description on this video. Check out what Flits has to offer. Use the link, copy it, paste it, go to that site, and then shop on the Flits website. And they got a whole bunch of different products too. So when you use the code that's on the description, Graveyard, you'll get 20% off of everything you purchase. So go ahead and check that out. And this is a great product too, but they make all kinds of different products. This is looking really sweet. Just a little bit of the flits will make this look really good. Now, if you get a little area there that looks like it needs some more polish, put a little bit more on there and go to town. Now, you may have to change out your polishing bonnet, or you may even have to sand it down a little bit and try it again. But it depends on how detailed or how shiny you want to get this body. I'm even polishing up the engine a little bit on the inside. That looks pretty sweet. Check out Flits. What a great product. Absolutely love this stuff. Now here we're going to paint the car. We took it to the sink. We scrubbed it down with Zep degreaser or any other kind of degreaser you have. Rinse it off really good. But we're going to use this paint from Second Chance Redlines called Retro Flame. Now I'm using the color rose. I don't have any rose colored cars. So you got your hardener, and the mixture is 4-to-1. 1 part hardener to 4 parts paint. I use my pipettes here. Now this is a 2 milliliter pipette. I've got it marked with a black marker. So again, 4-to-1. Move it up to the 2 milliliter mark, put it in your cup. I use these little plastic cups that I get off of Amazon, and they're available on my marketplace page also. But what else is really good is these cups don't have the little separator tabs in the bottom of the cup, so when you're stirring with a little wooden stick or something, it won't flick out back at you and get all over your clothes. Now, again, does that not sound like the voice of experience? Now, this is a 1 milliliter pipette, and I'm only going to use 0.5 milliliters to mix with the paint, which is 2 milliliters, or again, 4-to-1. This is a really good mixture here too. Now your Retro Flame paints already come pre-thinned, so you don't have to worry about using any reducer to thin down the paint. Just go ahead and swirl the cup around and mix it up, or use a stick or a battery-powered mixer, whatever you wish. Here we've painted the car. Now I would show you the spray booth, but I got a lot of stuff in my work area right now that I'm trying to clean up and move around and everything. So I actually opened up the garage door and sprayed it towards the outdoors. This turned out beautiful. That color is fantastic. I was going to paint it a light blue, but I decided to go with the rose. Here's the base with the brand new wheels on there that I also got from Second Chance Redlines. Polished it up with the flits. Here's the glass. as good as we can make it. I ordered some new stuff. I'll replace it when I get it in. And here's the interior all scrubbed up and the paint removed. Let's put it together and have our reveal.
Meanwhile, back in the graveyard.
And here's what we started with. This kid-painted Continental Mark III. I remember when these cars came out, and sometimes these were the only cars you could get at the different dollar stores and whatever else they had there at the time, that era. They didn't have Walmarts really, at least in the area I lived in. But we loved collecting Hot Wheels and Matchbox cars and Johnny Lightnings and all that stuff. Now, I do got some other restorations coming up with Matchbox and Johnny Lightning and all kinds of stuff like that. So, again, hit that subscribe button and you'll see what's coming up. Now, I also have a live broadcast coming up, and I'm going to try and do it the last Saturday of every month at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. There'll be more to follow, and there will be an alert that you will see for this live broadcast. And basically, it's just a BS session to answer your questions, have a little bit of fun, tell some stories, demonstrate new products to you, etc. But it's going to be a lot of fun, I promise. So set your calendar for the very last Saturday night of the month and bring your adult beverage because we have a lot of toasts. And here's what we got to. Look at how nice this kid-painted car turned out. I decided to go with the rose color instead of the light blue, and I'm glad that I did because this thing is beautiful. And I can't wait to get that new windshield in from Second Chance Redlines. This is going to be a lot of fun. We tore the car apart. We put it in the citrus strip. We stripped it all down. We polished it up with the flits. We painted it up with the retro flame paint from Second Chance Redlines. We put the new wheels on there from Second Chance Redlines. And this is how the car turned out. And the best part about it is, folks, is you can do this too. This is a lot of fun. Now, I recommend you start out with a few main lines if you're just starting out with this hobby, just to get in the groove of things, because you can use that retro flame paint on your mainline cars too. Now, again, you can do this, and if you have questions, contact me in the comments, and I'll try my best to get back to you. I want to thank you for joining me here today on Diecast Graveyard. This was a lot of fun. I haven't done a restoration in a long time because I've been so darn busy, but I am catching up. So again, hit that subscribe button and check it out, and we will see you on the next video from Diecast Graveyard. Thank you, and cheers.